High protein diet and the relevance alongside GLP-1 usage. Ozempic, Wegovy, and Zepbound. These are all examples of mainstream weight loss medications that have recently made their way into the homes and fridges of many Americans. Celebrities and doctors alike have adopted these medications as magic fixes to one of the most prevalent diseases plaguing our society, being fat. So, being fat is not actually a disease, just to clarify, but it is treated as such, unfortunately, in today's age. Fat is associated with being unhealthy in our society, so it's really no surprise lots of people are turning to GLP-1s to lose fat. If we observe the shift in beauty standards historically, we can see how today there is an unspoken war surrounding the topic of what it means to be healthy while simultaneously being perceived as beautiful in society. In the 1900s, the thin ideal became the center of beauty for women, with the closest thing to curvy being the representation of Marilyn Monroe in 1953. The 2010s created space for curvier bodies, but kept a focus on correct proportions, such as a thin waist, but now accompanied by wide hips and thicker thighs and rear. Celebrities like Nicki Minaj and Kim Kardashian brought representation for women who did not fit the thin ideal, paving the way for movements such as the body positivity movement and body neutrality movement, all looking to create a community based around acceptance of not fitting into the thin beauty standard, with an emphasis on health looking different for everybody. Now, after the sudden popularity of GLP-1 medications being advertised as weight loss drugs in 2021, the thin ideal has regained its original traction and has claimed its spot again as the ultimate symbol of beauty. Celebrities like Oprah Winfrey and Sharon Osbourne have openly come out and stated how GLP-1s have been the reason behind their dramatic weight loss. Other celebrities like Ariana Grande and Julia Fox have denied the use of GLP-1s, however, have shown results of dramatic weight loss, which has led to the conclusion that whether GLP-1 usage is involved or not, thinness is back and it's sought after by arguably the most influential people of our time. With a societal fixation on weight loss and being skinny has also come the fixation on lifestyle changes to support or enhance the journey to become thin. A rise in protein consumption and protein-packed products has become the new obsession, promising increased levels of satiety and a decrease in caloric intake. Major players in the food industry have caught on to this quickly, leading to products that originally hold little to no nutritional value now being marketed as high protein and healthy simply on the merit of having a reasonable protein content. It has become no surprise that protein has now become synonymous with healthy and important in any diet for a person looking to lose weight. With a societal obsession on weight loss, it is seen as a package deal that anyone using a GLP-1 to lose weight must also focus on increasing their protein intake. But is this really true? Or is this just another diet fad that people are falling for? To answer that question, we must first zoom in on the exact science behind what protein and GLP-1s do to the body on their own, then identify whether the claim that high protein intake is essential for GLP-1 users is true or not. Protein. Protein is one of the three essential macronutrients your body needs to function properly, the others being carbohydrates and fats. Protein is used as a resource for building and repairing tissues and various other functions in the body. Sources of protein consist of ingesting other animals and their milk or eggs, or plant-based proteins such as seeds, nuts, or tofu. The claim that protein is essential for people looking to lose fat is not entirely incorrect, as protein proves to be a useful tool in maintaining satiety, preserving muscle, and stabilizing blood sugar. It also only has 4 calories in 1 gram, which compared to fat with 9 calories per gram seems to be the best bet on paper for lessening caloric intake. The amazing thing about protein and why people like bodybuilders are on diets that consume so much of it is because muscle is made of, well, protein. Consuming protein provides the body with a steady supply of amino acids, which is used to build muscle. Resistance training, such as lifting weights in the gym, creates micro tears in the body's muscle fibers, which then must be repaired using amino acids. The other side of requiring protein in the diet has to do with preventing lean muscle mass from deteriorating. Muscle takes energy to maintain, and if the body senses that it is not being used, it will break it down and remove the unused protein. Lessened energy intake overall also contributes to the body's decision of breaking down muscle as an attempt to harvest amino acids necessary for regular bodily functions. As a whole, protein is a pretty neat macronutrient, and simply by eating more of it, people can quite literally build their body to have more lean muscle mass through resistance training and protein-rich diet. Glucagon-like peptide 1 agonists, or GLP-1s for short. Glucagon-like peptide 1 is a hormone excreted naturally in the human body by the small intestine. It has a multitude of functions, such as triggering insulin release from the pancreas, which in turn lowers the amount of glucose in the blood, blocking glucagon secretion. Glucagon is the hormone the body uses to raise blood sugar levels, slowing emptying of the stomach's contents, which also helps reduce blood sugar levels, and increasing satiety by communicating to the brainstem and hypothalamus, where the body's appetite centers lie. GLP-1 agonists, which are the GLP-1 drugs discussed in this video, are referring to the synthetic recreation of this hormone, which originally was created with the intention of helping to lower blood glucose levels in patients struggling with type 2 diabetes. The science behind this drug is the patient injects it into their body, where the drug then finds and binds to GLP receptors. Once bound, GLP-1 hormone is released and the effects mentioned previously are carried out. To tie them together, now that we know the science behind both the effects of protein intake and GLP-1 agonist drugs, we have to dissect why doctors and Ozempic users alike have been promoting a high-protein diet alongside GLP-1 usage. A social phenomenon known as Ozempic face has driven the conversation behind users of Ozempic and GLP-1s looking sunken in, drained, and having loose skin and a dull, lifeless skin tone. Commentary on this topic usually consists of conclusions about the drug's users not eating enough and that GLP-1s have been a crutch for people looking to starve themselves in the name of achieving thinness. However, I propose turning to a more scientific approach when deciphering why exactly these GLP-1 users appear the way they do. A cross-sectional study was conducted and reported in the article Investigating Nutrient Intake During Use of Glucagon-like Peptide 1 Receptor Agonist, a cross-sectional study. In the study, participants who had been on a GLP-1 drug for a minimum of 1 month were asked to record a 3-day food diary of everything they ate, as well as answer online survey questionnaires. These results were then cross-compared to the DRI, and a one-way ANOVA analysis was performed to compare the self-reported MyPlate servings to the recorded 3-day food records. The results of the study concluded that participants consumed an adequate amount of B vitamins, copper, phosphorus, selenium, and zinc. However, they also had insufficient intakes of several key nutrients, including fiber, choline, calcium, vitamin C, and more. Dairy, fruit, and vegetable intake was also under the daily recommendation from MyPlate. Protein intake was within the AMDR, but when compared to grams per kilogram per day, protein intake was significantly under daily needs. In another research article titled Application of Nutrition Interventions with GLP-1 based therapies, a narrative review of the challenges and solutions, a review study was conducted that synthesized past studies of all kinds, concluding that patients taking GLP-1s who were identified as having suboptimal nutrition should be provided with proper nutritional counseling that emphasizes adequate macro and micronutrient intake, fluid intake, and prioritize increasing protein intake alongside resistance training, all in hopes of preserving muscle mass. Counseling not only on nutritional intake but also on other aspects of lifestyle such as sleep, hygiene, mental health, physical activity, and medication adherence is also recommended. These studies' findings emphasize a very clear correlation between GLP-1 users and an overall lack of proper nutrition, with a spotlight on improper protein intake. A lack of resistance training and adequate fluid intake also presents itself among users. Going back to the Ozempic face discussion, the symptoms of looking drained, flabby, and sunken in seem to align with the visual results of malnutrition, specifically negligent protein intake. In our segment on protein earlier in the video, it was mentioned how a lack of protein intake leads to a loss in lean muscle mass. The look of someone who has lost their lean muscle mass aligns with the same description given to Ozempic face and similar criticisms. That is why when discussing use of GLP-1, it is essential to also discuss proper nutrient intake at the very least. Fluid intake and resistance training are also important ways to prevent the body from entering a state of shock from the sudden change in dietary habits and help to promote an overall better quality of life when taking the drug. So, to answer the question from before, yes, a high-protein diet is more than preferred for users on GLP-1s. Although, the protein craze in today's society has led to many landmines in the process of increasing protein intake. Just because a food promotes itself as high protein, it does not mean it is good for you to ingest. Sticking to foods that have ingredients that you can 1. Pronounce, and 2. Are able to find in your kitchen at home is a good rule of thumb. Thank you for watching, and remember that health looks different for everybody. Thinness is not required to be beautiful, and above all else, a healthy lifestyle will inevitably equate to a healthy body and mind. Bye!